The first cracks showed on an ordinary Tuesday night. I came home to silence. No smell of dinner, no music, just the hum of the fridge. Laura was on the couch, scrolling her phone like nothing else existed. When I asked if she'd eaten, she said she wasn't hungry. Then she looked at me like I was the problem for even asking. That night I ate takeout in the garage, alone, beside my toolbox. It became a habit. The garage turned into my dining room. My wife turned into a stranger with a glowing screen. Her phone never left her hand. She started dressing better for Pilates. New leggings, fresh nails, perfume that wasn't for me. She said she needed time to focus on herself. I didn't argue. Arguing with her lately felt like talking to a wall that judged back. Then one night, she fell asleep on the sofa. Her phone slipped from her hand and lit up. A message preview popped up on the screen. "Can't stop thinking about you," it said. The name above it was Iron Wolf 89. Curiosity overpowered hesitation. I tapped the screen and saw a photo of a shirtless man covered in tattoos. The kind of guy who calls himself an alpha online. Every message between them was another cut to my chest. He called her baby girl. She sent hearts, selfies, and even complained about me. "He's cold, robotic, never listens," she wrote. "He's just safe." Safe. That word burned worse than any insult. I didn't wake her. I just sat there, staring at the glow of her betrayal. In the morning, I didn't say a word. I smiled, made coffee, acted normal. Then I remembered something useful. My daughter's old iPad still sat in the closet. Laura used it years ago and never logged out of iCloud. That night, I charged it. When it turned on, everything synced: texts, photos, notes, voice memos. I saw months of lies unfolding like a diary. Hotel bookings on weeknights. Cash app transfers to a name I didn't recognize. Pictures she never sent me. Voice notes of her giggling with him in the background. Each one felt like a punch, but I didn't rage. I documented. I screenshotted every conversation, saved every photo. I made folders labeled by date. Labeled OneDrive Truth. Made a copy on another labeled Insurance. It was no longer pain, it was evidence. I realized I married someone who thought comfort was boring. Someone who confused stability with emptiness. When she smiled at me the next morning, pretending nothing happened, I finally understood that my silence would be the loudest response. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Because some betrayals deserve witnesses, not warnings. And I was about to make sure the world would see hers. I met the lawyer 2 days after I found the proof. His name was James Harris, a quiet man with a buzz cut and calm eyes. He didn't ask how I felt. He asked what I wanted. I told him I wanted out. He opened a notebook and said, "Then we do this smart, not loud." He explained how Texas law worked, how adultery tilted the scales. He said, "Don't confront her yet. Let her think you're clueless." His voice was steady, measured, like he'd done this 100 times. Move your valuables, change deposits, keep quiet. That night, I did exactly that. I called my mom, told her I needed to store some boxes. I packed my tools, collectibles, electronics, and drove them to her house. We labeled the boxes donations, just in case Laura snooped. Then I opened a new account at a small credit union downtown. Transferred $12,000 from my last work bonus. Legal money, earned before marriage. I changed my paycheck routing too. No more joint deposits. I left just enough to pay utilities, nothing more. Harris said, if she finds out early, she'll drain everything. He was right. Laura had that impulsive streak, the kind that spends to feel powerful. By the end of the week, everything valuable was under lock and key. I played the role of the tired husband. Still polite, still predictable. She didn't notice the distance between my words anymore. She was too busy living in her fantasy. I watched her text under the table during dinner. Watched her smile at her phone like she used to smile at me years ago. The betrayal wasn't a dagger. It was a slow drip that hollowed me out. 3 days later, Harris called. "You're clear," he said, "ready for confrontation." That night, Laura came home after Pilates, hair messy, holding a smoothie. She didn't expect me sitting at the table with the iPad open. When she saw it, the color drained from her face. I didn't yell. I just asked one word. "Explain." Her lips trembled, eyes wet. She said, "I didn't mean for it to go this far." Then came the excuses: loneliness, neglect, pressure, emotion. I listened without a sound. When she was done, I said, "You had a family, a home, a husband, everything stable. You chose chaos." She cried harder, saying, "He made me feel alive." I nodded slowly. Alive enough to destroy everything. Silence answered me. She called me a robot, said I didn't feel things anymore. I told her robots don't bleed, and I'd been bleeding for months. Then I stood up, walked to the guest room, locked the door. Texted Harris one line. "Proceed Monday." Lying in bed that night, I felt nothing. No rage, no heartbreak, just clarity. The woman next door was a stranger wearing my wife's face. And starting Monday, she'd finally meet the consequences she earned. The morning after I sent the message to Harris, everything looked normal. Laura made coffee like nothing had happened. She hummed while scrolling her phone, pretending life was fine. But the storm had already started. She just didn't feel it yet. 3 days later, the divorce papers were served at home. She called me 14 times in 10 minutes. I didn't answer once. Her voicemails swung from crying to anger to guilt. Then she called her father. Frank showed up that evening, pounding on my door. "You can't handle one mistake," he shouted from the porch. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. "She's been cheating for a year, Frank." He ignored it, blaming me for working too much, for being too cold. He said I pushed her into another man's arms. I laughed so loud the neighbor turned to look. "She was booking hotel rooms while I paid tuition," I said. Frank had no answer. He mumbled something about forgiveness and left. The next day, her mother sent me a 6-paragraph text. She said I was destroying the family. Said real men fight for their wives. Apparently, cheating is a mistake, but divorce is betrayal. I didn't reply. I saved every word for court. Then Heather, her best friend, started her crusade online. She called me abusive, controlling, manipulative. She said I isolated Laura and crushed her confidence. Funny, because the only thing I crushed was our mortgage. I took screenshots, saved timestamps, archived everything. Harris said, "Perfect, let her dig her own hole." Meanwhile, the fallout spread. Ryan's wife, Valerie, called me. She was crying, voice shaking with disbelief. "I had no idea," she said. I sent her the proof, dates, photos, receipts. 45 minutes later, she filed for divorce too. Ryan lost his job at the gym within a week. Valerie posted his betrayal online, and the story caught fire. Every gym in town dropped him. No one hires a trainer who preys on clients. Laura tried to play calm at first. Told friends it was mutual, that we had grown apart. Then she found out I froze the joint account. She accused me of stealing. I told her I simply took back what was mine. She called her lawyer, claiming I hid assets. I had the records ready. Bonus money earned before marriage. Every dollar was legal and documented. She tried taking furniture next, things I bought years before. I had receipts for all of it. When Harris warned her attorney, she backed off for a day. Then I came home to a ransacked bedroom, drawers open, blankets gone. She wanted to hurt me with mess because she couldn't with truth. But I was already empty. You can't break a man who's already accepted the wreckage. That night I realized something clear. She hadn't just lost me. She had lost control. And soon, She'd lose the last thing she thought she owned, her narrative. Mediation day arrived like a storm I'd already mapped out. Harris told me to stay calm, let the evidence do the talking. We walked into the conference room with binders and calm faces. Laura showed up late, hair done, sunglasses indoors, iced coffee in hand. She looked like she was heading to a casting call, not a legal meeting. Her lawyer looked exhausted before we even began. She sat down, crossed her arms, and said, "I'm here to get what I deserve." Harris smiled politely. "Perfect," he said. "Let's begin." Her list read like a ransom note. Full custody of our daughter. 5 years of spousal support. The house because she designed it. My truck. 500 a month for wellness therapy. She said it all with a straight face, like she was asking for lunch options. Harris opened his binder and slid a document across the table. It showed the deed to the house, purchased 2 years before marriage. He pointed to my name on it. "Not community property," he said. "Even if it was, adultery shifts the ruling." Her lawyer sighed like a man realizing he'd stepped into quicksand. Laura jumped in. "I made that house a home. I cooked, I cleaned, I raised our child." Harris didn't flinch. "And you abandoned those duties for an affair," he said calmly. Her tone cracked. "So now I can't have feelings," she snapped. I stayed silent, watching her twist her own words into knots. She went on about giving me her best years, about boredom and neglect. Finally, I leaned forward. "You got free housing, no bills, gym memberships, Botox, and stability. You threw it away for a trainer who ghosted you." Her face turned red. Her lawyer asked for a break. During the break, Harris whispered, "She's unraveling, stay quiet." We returned to the table 10 minutes later. Laura started again, but this time she tried to play the victim. "You just want to punish me," she said. "This isn't justice, it's revenge." I looked at her and said, "No, justice is accountability. Revenge would be public." Her lips trembled, but she pressed on. She said material things didn't matter. Then demanded the truck and a starter fund. Harris raised an eyebrow, almost smiling. Then came her final mistake. "You never bought me anything thoughtful," she said. "Ryan got me a rare label." I blinked, unsure I'd heard right. She said it again, slower, as if it proved a point. "It's a collectible." It made me feel seen. The room went silent. I stared at her and said, "You destroyed your family for a toy." She fired back, "It's what it represents." "Yeah," I said, $400 of stupidity." Even her lawyer looked away to hide a laugh. Harris leaned in. "If that's her emotional evidence, we're done here." Laura stood up, shouted about being under duress, and stormed out. Her lawyer stayed behind, sighed, and said quietly, "She won't win this in court." We walked out calmly, leaving her fury behind like smoke after a fire. 3 days of silence followed the mediation. No calls, no texts, no sudden drama. I knew better than to think it was peace. Laura never accepted defeat. She only planned her next scene. By day 4, her damage control began. She posted on Instagram first. Black and white photos, captions about healing and strength. Sometimes the villain tells the story first. Real queens rebuild. Each one was a performance for sympathy. Her friends, including Heather, jumped in fast. They flooded comments with hearts, and "You got this." I just screenshotted everything. Harris told me, "The more she talks, the cleaner we look." Then came the messages from mutual friends. "Hey man, maybe talk to her again. She's hurting, be the bigger person." I ignored them all. People love drama, until truth ruins the entertainment. Then the real play started. A letter taped to my door, temporary restraining order. She claimed I was aggressive and emotionally threatening. Said I made her fear for her safety. I laughed out loud, standing in my driveway. She'd been texting me daily about bills and groceries. I called Harris immediately. He said, expected, stall tactic will crush it. I sent him screenshots, timestamps, voicemails, everything. I also had camera footage from every angle of the house. Audio, video, all synced to cloud storage. Every time she entered, every word she spoke. Texas is one-party consent. Legal, clean, undeniable. Within a week, the judge threw out her order. Insufficient evidence, the ruling said. She didn't even show up for the follow-up hearing. Her lawyer claimed she was emotionally overwhelmed. Translation: caught lying and didn't want it recorded. That's when she lost it for real. She started trashing the house. Hair in the sink, makeup smeared on walls, towels everywhere. One night, she left a used pad on the bathroom counter. A message without words. Harris said, "Let her keep going, she's proving your case." I took photos of every mess, every broken item. Dated, organized, stored. Then she changed tactics again. Sat at the dining table one night, tears already ready. Said she missed me, said Ryan meant nothing. Asked if we could hit pause on everything. I asked her one question. Do you miss me or the lifestyle? She stared, couldn't answer. I told her, you should have thought about that before the motel. Her face went cold, lips tight. She stood up, slammed the chair and walked away. That night she posted a selfie captioned, "Lost but still fighting." Fighting what I didn't know. By the end of the week, her lawyer emailed Harris again. Wanted her to stay in the house rent-free, to ease tensions. Harris replied with 2 words, "Client declines." Then filed a petition to vacate the property. When the ruling came, she had 10 business days to leave. No extensions, no excuses. She thought I'd fold. But this time, the only thing collapsing was her illusion of control. The day the court order hit her inbox, Laura went nuclear. She didn't pack a single box for 9 days straight. She spent her time online instead, painting herself as the victim. Posts about losing everything to a controlling man. Photos of candles, and sad quotes about love and lessons. I didn't reply. I just marked each one down with a screenshot and timestamp. Day 10 arrived, and the deputies showed up right on schedule. 2 of them, body cameras on, calm, professional. They gave her 20 minutes to grab essentials and leave. Laura tried to argue, saying she wasn't finished packing. The deputy said, "That's not our problem, ma'am." She looked at me like I was supposed to rescue her. I stood still, arms crossed, watching her drag a suitcase downstairs. Heather waited outside in the car, glaring through the windshield. Laura didn't close the door when she left. Just walked out and disappeared behind the tinted glass. The house went silent. For the first time in a year, the air didn't feel heavy. I walked through every room, checking what she left behind. The master closet was half empty. She took designer clothes, left cheap ones from online boutiques. The bathroom drawers were mostly bare. In one of them, a note waited. "You're heartless, you'll end up alone." I dropped it in the trash, beside an empty candle jar. Later that evening, Harris called. Her lawyer wanted to reopen mediation, to renegotiate. Apparently, homelessness made her rethink her pride. I said, "No, I'm done bargaining with someone who needed police escort." Harris laughed softly. Then we moved to trial. 2 months passed before the court date. No posts, no messages, no drama. I knew that silence well. It wasn't peace, it was plotting. When the morning came, I wore a plain navy suit. No jewelry, no watch, no pretense. Just calm. Laura arrived 15 minutes late, dressed like she'd given up. Cheap blazer over yoga pants, fake composure on her face. The judge started with finances. Her lawyer claimed I hid assets. Harris handed over folders, dates, receipts, taxes, proof. The funds came from bonuses before marriage, all legal. Then he showed the payments she made to Heather. Labeled emotional healing, self-care, and trauma therapy. The judge asked, Is this a licensed therapist? Laura mumbled, a spiritual coach. The judge sighed, made a note. Then Harris brought the hammer down. Screenshots, hotel receipts, voice notes, lingerie orders. Her own words saying Ryan made her feel alive. Laura tried to speak, but the judge stopped her. Your actions speak clearly, Mrs. Miller. Then Harris placed one final sheet on the table. An Amazon order for a $418 pink glitter label. The emotional token of her affair, he said. The courtroom went still. The judge stared at the receipt, then at her. You spent joint funds on a collectible tied to infidelity. Her face drained of color. Final ruling came fast. House, mine. Truck, mine. Custody, primary to me. Spousal support, denied. The judge closed the file with a single line. Actions have consequences. I shook Harris's hand, walked out, and felt the sun again. 2 weeks after the verdict, the house finally felt alive again. Quiet mornings, clean air, no shouting through walls. I started sleeping through the night, real sleep, deep and steady. My daughter came home on weekends, laughter returning to the halls. No tension, no fear of another explosion. The silence that once felt heavy now felt peaceful. One afternoon, my phone rang with an unknown number. It was Ryan. His voice was cracked, small, defeated. He said Valerie moved away, took the kid, and he lost everything. He asked if I could talk to her for him, help fix things. I hung up before he could finish the sentence. You burn your own bridge, you swim alone. 3 days later, a message came from Laura. Short, hesitant. I've been thinking, maybe we could talk, just us. A few hours later, another. I know I messed up, people make mistakes, we could start over. I read it once, put the phone down, and walked outside. The grill was hot, the air calm, the sky clear. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel anger or grief. Just peace. And that was enough.